going to be on page 9, and we're going to take a look at note 55. So today we're pulling together, hi to all the people watching on video. This is awkward for me, so whatever. So today we're putting together all 4 things that we've learned about triangles. So we started with right triangles, and you may have started in like 8th grade with this. Pythagorean theorem was the very first thing that we like talked about, right? A squared plus b squared equals c squared. And then early last week we talked about SOHCAHTOA. So that was our first 2 tools that we learned. And then this week, can somebody remind me what we learned? The 2 tools we learned this week?
We learned law of cosines.
Law of sines and law of cosines. Ooh. Sines. Law of sines and law of cosines. So we have, you're good. Law of sines and law of cosines. So we have our 4 tools. And what we're going to do today is think about how to solve a triangle. So in your vocabulary there, it says solving a triangle. Solving a triangle means to find all the sides, and all the angles. So we're finding all the sides and all the angles. I think we've done a problem like this before, but if we haven't, we will get to a couple of them today. So all the sides, all the angles, and we're going to use these 4, but we aren't necessarily going to use them in that order. We're not going to necessarily use them all together. We're not necessarily going to use all of them. We might use the same one 3 times. We have to know how to use and what to use. Okay? So the first thing that I always think of if I'm thinking about my thought process, so you have a big empty box there. You can write down as little or as much as you need to write down. The first question I always ask myself is this a right triangle? Is this a right triangle? Right? How can I know if something's a right triangle or not? Yeah, it has a 90-degree angle. Right? If it has a 90-degree angle. So if it has that little box there that tells us it's 90 degrees. And then I kind of send myself down 2 paths. Either yes, it is one, or no, it is not. Either yeah, it's a right triangle, or no, it's not. Okay. So once if I know that it's a right triangle, 2 of these strategies will work for me. Which 2 are they? Pythagorean theorem and SOHCAHTOA. So I might use Pythagorean theorem, or I might use SOHCAHTOA. Right? Does anyone have any idea how I might decide which of these to use?
Yeah.
How, Raphael? What thought process would you go through?
If you have the sides, then you use the fat one on the left. And if you have the angles, you use the one on the right.
So if I have angles, or if I'm interested in angles, I got to use this one. And if I have sides, I want to use this one. That's what we're saying? So Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, right? And Raphael says that if we have 2 sides, right? We need 2 sides for this one? Great. So 2 sides, we can find one other side. Does Pythagorean theorem help us at all with angles? No. No, there's no angles. We know one of them's 90, but it doesn't help us find any of the other angles. So that's Pythagorean theorem. Let me say 2 sides are given to us, and we can find one other side, which would usually be our x, our variable. That's what we're looking for. Sounds pretty simple. And then SOHCAHTOA, this is when we would have either sine, cosine, or tangent of our degrees, and it equals a fraction. It's like O over A for tangent, et cetera, right? So we have SOHCAHTOA. And what are we usually given in this case? We're given sometimes one side and one angle. One side and one angle. If we're given one side and one angle, what are we trying to find? We're trying to find the other side, exactly. So if we're given one side and one angle, we find one side. or if we're given two sides, what are we trying to find? Let's say that they give me the top and the bottom and there's an x right here. What are we trying to find? An angle. So there's two scenarios in which SOHCAHTOA is the best option. Two scenarios there. So Pythagorean theorem, SOHCAHTOA, both of those are working with right triangles. And then we have two strategies that will work for non-right triangles. Okay? So we have the law of sines. And we have the law of cosines. I'm leaving a little bit of space here because there's a second question I'm going to ask myself in order to determine between the two. Right? In order to determine between the two. Does anyone have any idea what that question is? How do I decide if I want the law of sines or the law of cosines? Any ideas? SAS. Which one, if I have SAS, side, angle, side, which one would I use, Chris? Law of cosines. So if I have SAS, I would use law of cosines, or what's the other one for law of cosines? SSS, side, side, side. Thanks, John. Alright, so if I have SAS, side, angle, side, so that's a side and another side with the angle in between it, right? Or side, 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 that's all three sides, I'm going to use law of cosines. In order to use the law of sines, what do I need? It's this one where you have A over, what's that? AAS would work, yes. AAS would work, or what's the other one? SSA. Yes, thanks for putting it that way and not the other way. Spell a funky word there. Right. Okay, so these would work here because we need, what we're looking for is a pair. We need a pair. We need either A and A, or we need B and B. Right? We have to have at least one pair. So we need a pair. Awesome. So one option is going to give me the law of sines. The law of cosines, can someone write me like a generic law of cosines? What would that look like?
C squared.
C squared?
Plus B squared plus A squared.
B squared plus A squared?
Minus 2.
Minus 2?
BA.
BA?
Cosine.
Cosine. We need a big letter, right? This is an angle. Which one does it go with? C. We want to make sure that C and C are our bookends. Either we're looking for a side or looking for an angle, but they need to be matching. Right, so we need these to be our pair here. Right? We talked about this one a little bit, but we're given two angles and a side. We're finding the other side. Right? So if we're given AAS, we are finding another side. And if we're given SSA, we're finding another angle. So angle, angle, side, we're finding a side. Side, side, angle, we're finding an angle. We're finding pairs there. And then with the law of cosines, if we have SAS, we're filling in SS and A here. Then we're finding a side. We're finding the third side. And if we have side, 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 we're finding one of the angles. Because we already have all three sides. So these are my two options for if I have a non-right triangle. Are there any questions about those four options? Those are our four tools. Awesome. Thank you guys for your help on that one. So let's go ahead and look at the next problem. The problem that you should see on the bottom of your page is this problem here. It's a triangle. And it's actually number 1 on your assignment. So let's go ahead and flip your page over. Flip your page over, and you should see a bigger box to write, so you don't have to write in a small space. Cool. Okay, so we see this one here, right? I'm going to ask myself my first question, is this a right triangle? No, it's not. So which two are off the table? Pythagorean theorem and SOHCAHTOA we cannot use, right? We have to use either law of sines or law of cosines. So I'm gonna decide what I have here. So here I can see that I have a side and another side, and I have this angle. So I have angle first, side, side. Angle, side, side. That's a dangerous way to write that. Right? So we're gonna work backwards, which is side, side, angle. Side, side, angle. Right? So here we can see that we need the law of sines, right? And we're thinking about that. Or if I don't really want to memorize that, I could say, okay, 58 goes with 12. That's a pair. And once I see that pair, I can automatically think law of sines. All right, I have a pair there. And then I have my side here, and this side goes over here with this angle. But it's gonna get really complicated to just say like this side, this angle, right? So let's go ahead and name them. Does someone have 3 letters they want to use?
BCG.
B, C, G. B, C, G. Yeah, Francis.
How do you know if it's SSA or SAS?
How do you know? Let's say I had a triangle like this, and they give me an angle and a side and a side. I start with one of them, right? And I work either clockwise or counterclockwise around the circle. So I start with whatever's on the outside. So this would be angle, side, side. If I had something like this and they gave me angle, angle, and a side, I would start with one of them, angle, angle, and then a side here. It's more about the information that they give me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So law of sines here. If I have this pair and I see this, what information can I find out of here? What can I get? Angle B and little b are a pair, right? Angle B and little b are a pair. I could use those as my pair. I have 10. What is 10 attached to? What does it correspond to? Angle G, right? So angle G is what I could look for at this moment in time. I'm gonna look for angle G. Can someone write me the law of sines that would help me find angle G? Sine G
over 10 equals sine 58 over 12.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, can we help me solve this?
Multiply times 10.
Multiply times 10 gives me sine G equals a decimal of some kind. We're typing in sine 58 divided by 12. We're taking whatever you get and multiplying times 10. Anybody got me on a decimal? 0.7. 76? Oh, 70 and then
Oh, no, 71.
okay, so 0.71. Whatever that is, we're going to use that whole decimal in order to get rid of sine. How do I get rid of sine? What's the inverse of sine? Sine inverse or sine r. Sine inverse. So we're going to take that. We're going to take our sign here. We'll have G is equal to
45.
40. It's like 44.96, right?
Yeah.
So 44.96. When we use angles, we usually only use a tenth or either a tenth or like a whole one. So this 6 make that a 9 round up, and so that would overlap into 45 degrees. As soon as I know something about my triangle, I'm gonna put that on my actual drawing. All right, so I know that angle G is 45 degrees. They're asking us to solve though, which means we need all the sides and all the angles. So we have 2 sides, we have 2 angles. Where can we go from here? I need to find one more side and one more angle. Add them and subtract what, Des?
From 180.
From 180, right? So 180, so add 58 and 45 and subtract from 180 to get my C. What would that be? 77. 77 degrees. So I have all 3 angles now. I have all 3 angles. I have 2 sides. I need one more side. Right? Which side do I still need?
You need C.
Still need C. Right? Still need little c. Still need little c. How can I go about it? Do I want to use law of sines or law of cosines?
Sine.